All right, what is going on, everybody? We are back here for the Season 8 Draft Lottery. It's been a hot minute since we've been on the mainstream, but we're back in action, and we've got some fine young fellows in the booth with me. We got Merely Mental down there. Merely, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Ready to get back into the action. It feels like it's been a while, but already back in some big changes here.
Yeah, there are. We'll get in all the changes in a second. We'll just go around. We'll introduce everyone first, and then we'll talk about all the changes that have happened in the past, I guess, couple weeks here. We also have returning from last season, a new caster from last season, but he's back for season 2. We got Is Charles. Charles, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. This is my second season, and I enjoyed the first season so much I decided to come back. So, I'm excited. If I'm mistaken, Rockerman, this is our biggest season yet again.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Again, we're back. We just keep getting bigger somehow, some way. We thought summer season was going to be the biggest, and now here we are, and this season's even bigger. Which again we'll talk about very shortly. But we also, last but not least, have the Magic Pepperoni down there. Magic, welcome back to the booth. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited to be back. I feel like this off season went a lot faster than I was ready for. This is like while we're here. That last off season was so long, so this one it's refreshing to get back into the swing of things so soon. And I'm hyped for tonight. This is where we started off. Let's get it going.
Yeah, for sure. It was, yeah, definitely last season was a little bit longer, and this one definitely shorter. So we're happy to be back here. A couple quick shout outs here is now we're back for this season. We had a long break, but people are still back subscribing. We've got, I guess I'm shouting out myself for 30 months, Crippus for 20-month resub, Biscuit for 31, and Merely Mental for 27 months. So a lot of resubscriptions there. Shout out to everyone resubscribing. And also Pillow RL coming in with the Prime. Thank you. Much love for the support. We appreciate you guys here supporting us. And yeah, let's kind of get into the night here. Talk about what's going to be going down. Obviously, there's been a couple changes as music's coming out the 4 months. Thank you, music, for the 4 month sub. Much love, much love. But yeah, we've got a lot to talk about here. Obviously, we're going to get into this first. Well, actually, let me preface the night, and then we'll hop in and talk about what changes have been made here, including our sixth league, which we'll talk about. But yeah, tonight is the draft lottery, so we are going to be picking the draft order here for all 6 leagues. So in provisional league, which is our new 6th league, which we'll talk about in a sec here. Provisional, our new 6th league, we're going to have a snake draft, so we're actually going to pick all 8 spots here. We're going to pick the draft order for provisional, and we're also going to set the draft order for novice through Titan. And how that's going to work for those draft lotteries is we are going to have, there are 8 teams with varying odds depending on how they did last season. So worst teams have better odds to get a top 3 pick, or otherwise known as a lottery pick. So the worse you did last season, the better your odds here. And we are going to pick teams out. We're going to pick 3 teams. That'll be the first pick, the second pick, and the third pick. And the rest of the teams will fill in behind. Picks 9 through 16 from last season will be based off of record. And then the rounds 2 through 4, those will be set already. They're already set based on last season's standings. So this draft lottery is just for the first round. We're going to pick 3 teams. They'll get the top 3 picks. Everyone else will fill in below. For provisional league, which is our new 6th league, we're going to pick all 8, so we'll know the draft order. So yeah, that's what we got going on here. And we've got provisional to start things off. Merely, I'm going to throw it to you because we have, some Nemesis history. It's been since, what is it, season 3, Merely, since we've added a new league. We're into season 8 now. This is the first time we're adding a new league in 5 seasons.
Yeah, it's a huge step in the right direction, I think. What this will do is really increase, or I should say decrease, the skill difference in theory between the top and bottom of each league, so each one is even more intensely competitive. And not only that, but we're allowing players of a lower MMR now all the way down to Diamond 1 to compete as well. We get to watch some more. Now we don't even just have novice moments, we're also going to have provisional moments. So get ready for those. It's going to be a lot of fun. And with everyone starting on equal foot, it's always fun to see these new leagues take off and really shape themselves.
Yeah, Charles, I want to throw it to you quickly before we get things started because you were down there last season. You're a champion from the novice league, and now they went and throw another league below you. What do you think of this provisional league idea here? We got 3-man rosters, a lot of new GMs, which we'll talk about when we start this thing up. What do you make of the provisional league so far?
I love it. I saw the change, and I thought it was a good change, especially just getting more players into Nemesis because it's something that I love, and I think you shouldn't not participate in Nemesis based on if you're not good enough. So we added that league below it, and saying it's a provisional moment doesn't sound as good as it's a novice moment, but it'll have to do for now.
It will have to do. It will have to do. I'm sure we'll have a lot of trials and tribulations down there in the provisional league. A lot of new things there. Yeah, provisional league is going to be our kind of testing ground. We're going to be trying out some new things, trying out some new GMs. Again, we'll talk about the GMs and their teams in just a moment. But it's going to be a lot of trials. There's going to be a lot of testing, kind of seeing how things work. We're testing out 3-man rosters in there so we could get that 6th league, and it should be a fun time there. And we're actually getting into things. I know we've been talking for a while, so I'm gonna get us right into this. So let's move over to the draft lottery board, and I will explain kind of what we're looking at here. So if you guys take a look on the screen here, you can see season 8 draft lottery. You can also see the odds there. They're all the same for this draft lottery for the provisional league. Essentially, we're going to be picking 8 down to 1. So we're going to start with 8, pick number 8, then pick number 7, all the way down to 1 for the provisional league because it is a snake draft, and this is the first time provisional's been in Nemesis. So we're going to go down the list there, and yeah, we're going to select 8 down to 1. All the odds are the same, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's going to be a snake draft, and yeah, we got a couple of GMs here. So these are the provisional GMs, the provisional league unaffiliated with all the other 5 leagues, but still a part of Nemesis nonetheless here. So we got Rockerman, KN, Dan, Bubbly, Big C-Dubs. Those are all returning GMs from that are of the top 5 leagues. And then we got some new GMs, Cream, Fly Penguin, and Crippus there. Magic Pepperoni, I want to throw it to you about that. What do you make of these these new GMs? You got Cream, Fly Penguin, Crippus, and also you got some veterans out there managing a team in provisional.
It's really cool to see new faces. Get to see how these different guys handle the jobs that they flame GMs all season long. And now it's your turn to prove you can do better. And now you got to deal with a 6th league. It's gonna be funny to see. I know me and Dan are already talking about meme names for the new team. It's exciting stuff, and it's guys like Cream. I hope Cream succeeds. I love Cream, and he's one of those guys that's always in VCs talking, and he's gonna be a fun guy to play for. So it's new guys like Cream. It's gonna be fun to see how it goes, and yeah, having a 6th league, we're growing. This is exciting, and I'm loving this.
Yeah, we'd love to see it, and yeah, I think we've seen everything on here. We see all the GMs, all the odds are the same there. So we got Rockerman, KN, Dan, Bubbly, Big C-Dubs, Cream, Fly Penguin, and Crippist there. So these are all the people in this one. So we're gonna go to the odds, and we're gonna see who's gonna get the 8th pick. So this one, the provisional, we're picking 8 down to 1. So we're gonna do a lot of selecting for provisional. The rest of the leagues, it'll be back to normal. We'll only be selecting the top 3. So with that being said, why don't we start things off and let's figure out who's picking number 8. All right.
The first spin of the season.
All right, this one is
Beautiful.
in. We have got number 56, which is going to go to Fly Penguin on that one. He's added at the very last minute. Fly Penguin is going to get the number 8 pick, so he's going to be picking 8 and 9.
I feel so bad for Penguin right now because not only did we mess up his name on stream, but he also gets the last pick out of provisional. You know what, Penguin? If it's any consolation, I don't think that's any. I don't think that's any indication of things to come. I have a feeling your team's gonna do pretty well. But starting out with the 8 pick, a little bit unfortunate. Still plenty of room to work with in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think something to note here about the 8th pick is not only are you the 8th pick, but you're the 9th pick. So you actually get that benefit of going back to back. So you can kind of see who's on the board, and you get two picks right in a row there. So Fly Penguin, he's going to take home that spot, and let's go ahead and figure out who is going to be pick number 7. All right. Looks like this one is in. Oh, it's very close to the same number. We got a 54, which is going to go to Cream on this one. So Cream at number 7 on the board there.
That's not exactly where Cream wants to start this new league. That's a rip right there. I'm just hoping you don't say whatever Dan's numbers are right now, because I know he's watching this with close eyes.
Yeah.
As all the GMs are.
That's so unfortunate. Why are we bullying all these new GMs, man?
For
What's up
real?
with that?
Hey, I don't know. When I was doing some testing yesterday with Psycho, and I pulled a ball 1 through 9 about 7 or 8 times. So it was something. But yeah, Cream and Fly Penguin there at the bottom. So Fly Penguin gonna be 8, Cream gonna be 7. Let's try to figure out who is gonna be number 6.
Let's see. If I had to guess, I would say Crippist, but that's just the way things are going right now.
All right, we've got the ball in. It is number 2, which is going to be Rocker Man there,
W.
coming in at number 6. Which
You love to see it.
I wonder who that is.
Honestly, it could be worse. I'm not hating. I'm not hating on pick number 6 there. We get 6, and then what is that? We get is that 11? Get 6 and 11 there. It's about the middle ground. About the middle ground there. This is where. Hey, I don't think I can complain. It's not too bad. Not it couldn't have been. It's not a first round or first overall pick, but hey, at least I'm not picking 1 in 16.
That's honestly ideal. That's the best spot. Like in snake
saying.
drafts, having 1 in like 12 sucks. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. Middle of the pack is elite.
That's true.
Agree.
I think it also depends on how you're drafting your teams, whether you really want that one person to fill out your team, or you'd like a more well-rounded style of pick. Either way, that's a pretty solid pick.
All right, let's go on. We got the next ball in. It's actually going to be a 5, so we're gonna have to re-roll. That is the Rocker Man again. So let's try. Let's try again.
Rigged.
I wouldn't doubt it.
All right, here we go.
It's always rigged.
This is a new one that we got here. We got 22, which is going to go to Dan. Dan coming in at number 5.
Dan. I have such high
There you
hopes for
go.
Dan.
5's not bad. I think I'll take 5. That's the most elite spot, honestly. 4 and
Didn't you
5.
just say that about the last pick?
Holy, did you ever think of that?
I think if you have like 4 or 5, you're happy. It's after that you're kind of like, damn, we don't pick for another hour after your first pick.
Yeah, true. You don't want to fall asleep during the draft. That's happened to a few people.
It should be quick though. This is the provisional league. You're only picking 3 spots, and there's only 8 teams at the moment, so
True.
should be quick. Should be quick, but all right, let's see if we can figure out who's 4. Let's see who's still on the board though. First, we've got KN, Bubbly, Big C Dubs, and Crippist, I believe, still on the board. So we'll see if we can pull one of their numbers here as we try to figure out who's number 4.
Gonna be 67.
We got a 22 again. Is that back-to-back 22s right there? That's impressive.
Rigged.
That's very impressive. That's Dan, so we're gonna have to roll again.
That sounds
like you're rigged.
not right. Yeah.
Something-
Yeah, I
off.
think we should give Dan the pick, to be honest.
Exactly.
Give him 2 first rounds.
All right, here we go. We got a new one here. We got number 13. That is going to go to KN there,
Very
coming
nice.
in at the 4th overall pick.
It's a W.
One of the long-standing GMs. You love to see it. 4 pick, pretty good. I'd say pretty solid. Middle of the pack there. Get to pretty even spots. 2 chances to build your team. Good pick.
Yeah, you're right about that with KN being one of the longest standing GMs. It's actually, if you look at the lottery odds, they're in order of who's been GMing the longest. KN, if I recall correctly, I believe he's all the way back to season 3. Bubbly and Dan, well, I think Dan is Dan season 5. I'm season 1 up there. Bubbly, technically season 7, but he was there in season 4. So we got a couple of those long-standing GMs. KN, he's been one of those guys around here for a long time. So we'll see how he does in the provisional league. But that is the top. Or that is 4 through 8 decided. So we have Bubbly, Big C-Dubs, and Crippist for the top 3 picks. Let's see who is going to be number 3 on the board.
Ooh.
I mean, at this point, you just gotta get one, right? I feel like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
Yeah,
either
you
way.
can't mess around
It's
anyway.
just-
We got
a bad
We got a
pick.
7. We got a 7. That's a rocker, man. That's a
No,
reroll.
that's the third
That's,
Rockerman ore, bro.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's,
What is
can
this,
we-
dude?
Can we
You gotta
check those
recount.
balls?
Recount.
Yeah.
I did actually check last night. They are all there. We did some counting.
You
Uh,
You
All the
counted
balls
them
are
all?
there.
yeah, I counted them all. Oh, we got
Respect.
61. That is Fly Penguin again.
Ah.
So we're gonna have to try again. That's the one thing about this draft lottery. We're gonna get a lot of repeats here towards the middle. Let's see. We got 21, which is Dan again. So once we get to the end,
All
there's
right.
gonna be some.
Oh boy.
So
How much-
let's take a quick second. Let's look at the player sheet, and let's think. If you are a GM, you don't even have a team filled out. Who's your number 1 pick right now? Looking at everyone in the provisional league.
Ooh. I mean, I think Cowtard is the guy that sticks out. Like you see his name and you're like, wow, I know that guy. He's played novice for a while. Hell, wasn't he prospect for one season? I'm not sure, but I think guys like Cowtard stick out because they have experience. But I mean, hey, you might just build a team around Crispy Waves. That might be a W situation.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I've been watching Crispy's clips improve in the clips channel. Feel like I've been watching some solid progression there. Might not be a bad pick for the provisional league. He claims he's gonna farm.
True.
Which I respect someone who goes in with confidence. You always want that. And he's pretty well known in the community, known to be active. Could be a solid pick there as well.
All right, Merrily, I'm gonna cut you off here because we got
Yes.
one here, and that's gonna give us a third one. We got a number 44 on the board, which is gonna go to Big C Dubs, getting the
Yo.
3rd pick.
Yeah. Big C-Dubs. How much did that ball roller cost, Rocker Man?
How much did it cost? It was like
Yeah.
10. It was like $10, I think. It was like
$10.
10 to $15. It's actually pretty solid. I mean, it came with bingo cards too. So if
Yeah, I was gonna say it.
Beautiful.
You've got your money's worth out of it.
That's what I'm
Several draft
saying.
lotteries.
That's what I'm saying. It's putting in the work out here. It's
It's an investment.
It is definitely an investment for sure, and it's working. So, well, now we're down to it. We got 2 people left on the board. We have the battle between Crippist and Bubbly for the number 1 overall pick. And once again, there's a reason why we don't roll all these numbers for the draft lottery, which you guys will see is we get a lot of repeats. The more people that have been selected, the less chance that it is to hit Bubbly or Crippist numbers. So. We're going to get down to it. This will determine the number 1 overall pick. So whoever I pulled out of here, Bubbly or Crippist, the other one is going to get the number 1 overall pick. So let's see if we can pull Bubbly or Crippist for number 2.
I think the number 2 pick is the pick that I wouldn't want. It's like so
Yeah.
close to number 1. It's just teasing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Here we go. We got,
Oh, boy.
we got a nice one here for number 2. We got 69 on the board.
Yo.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Crippist going to get number
Nice.
2.
End stream. This has been a perfect stream. Just
Only
end it,
Crippist.
at this
Crippist
point.
with number 2.
We need to get a nice in chat. Let's get some nices in chat there for 69. Crippist getting the number 2 overall pick, and then that is going to give Bubbly the number 1 overall provisional pick.
Bubbly's goated. He wins at everything, even draft lotteries. And there's no skill, but I mean, Crip, how upset are you? Because I mean, you don't get the number 1 pick, but it's 69, so you can't be mad with it being your number.
That's true. He's taking the W. Well, there we go. So that's the lottery there. We got Bubbly, Crippist, Big C Dubs, KN, Dan, Rockerman, Cream, and Fly Penguin, the top 8, and then it'll snake around for picks 9 through 16. So let's go around quick. I know we really started talking about some players potentially. I'm kind of curious who we think has, is sitting in the best spot. Who we think has the best, best shot here to pull off a good season in provisional. Charles, I'll start with you here.
Are we talking individual players? Because I have one in mind.
Well, you can talk about the player. Talk about the players. Talk about who's got the
Players?
best draft pick. Yeah, sure. Either way.
Listen, I am a huge supporter of Cool Socks. Cool Socks until I die. I think he's the most slept on player in provisional right now. He did amazing in novice, so I'm just excited to see what he's going to put on the pitch going into that. And I think if you have Cool Socks in your team, you were winning a championship.
Oh, all right. Well, there we go. He was on the Gorgons last season in the novice league, moving down to provisional, which some people did do. Merely, what do you make out of this? This first round that we ended up with. The teams, the players. What do you make of it?
Well, I think this Provolone League is going to be real interesting. I can say that. I mean, it's not really. It's kind of hard to say before the teams are really filled out. I'm sure some GMs have ideas of what they want to do, but I really think the people that are going to be able to find success in this league are the people who host a lot of tryouts, pay close attention during combines. Combines are extending to the provincial league, right?
Yes, there will be there will be combines for a lot of leagues. We're still kind of working out the details for exactly how they work, but our idea is to have Nemesis combines for pretty much every league.
That's beautiful.
Okay, yeah. It's really going to be all the players, all the GMs who pay attention to the Providence League, though, I think.
Yeah.
Who really? I'm just kidding. I know it's provisional. I'm just messing around. But no, I think we have a lot left to be seen. Once the draft happens, we'll have a much better idea. But yeah, for now, those players that we've mentioned, Cool Socks, Crispy, Cowtard, all the guys we know, even BM, Matt, I'm expecting those guys to be early picks in the draft. Fly Penguins team, he already has a player on his team, so he has some room to work with there. That's a huge advantage, I think, when no one really has their rosters filled out yet. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how it develops, and I'm also excited to see a lot of these new players who are going to be joining the scene.
Yeah, for sure. Magic, what do you make out of all this now that we got things sorted with, we got Bubbly #1 overall. We got a lot of the new GMs, got some old GMs. What do you think about this? What do you think about this number? Has got me thinking here. I gotta make sure I say provisional league. Maybe I say providential league again. Magic, what do you make of this?
I think nearly hit it right on the head. Like, if you either just take shots in the dark and hope for the best, or you just grind out the combines and try to get a head start, because there's 8 GMs just have no idea how this is going to go. Like, nobody knows any of these players are going to work together. These are a bunch of diamond players. Like, this is going to be interesting. So, I mean, you can either go for names or you can, go with a gut shot and see if you hit a home run.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to see. This league, this provisional league, is going to be very interesting. There's a lot of new things going on in it. The 6th league, first time we're in a new league in 5 seasons. It's been a long time, but thanks to everyone's support, everyone's signing up, getting back in the league from last season. Like Charles said at the beginning, went from our biggest season to our biggest season. So it just keeps getting bigger. So glad to have that, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So the GMs are in. The draft order is set for the provisional league, and now we get into things. I know everyone is excited for all these top 5 leagues, because this is what the draft lottery is made for. We have the novice league. We're going to start out with the novice league here. We got a bunch of teams ready to go. You guys can see the ball numbers on the side there for those teams, and I will have to add balls 73 through 75 back in there. So while I do that, merely let me throw it to you as we head into the novice league. Maybe you can read off the teams there, and kind of talk about what to possibly expect out of this one.
Yeah, so you can see there we've got Genesis with the first 16. Obviously, they're there because Rockerman rigged it. We all know this. Just stating the obvious. Got the Vikings, Aurora, Wisps with some pretty decent odds. Towards the end there, it does start to fall off a little bit. Teams after that are going to have slightly better odds of getting first picks, but they're going to have to get a little bit lucky if they really want to get that juicy #1 spot. But really, in the novice team, I thought there would be a lot of returning teams. I know there's a ton of returning players, but there's actually a ton of space to work with here. So any of these teams, honestly, being top 8, are going to have a pretty good advantage of being their pick of the litter, pick of who they want first. Really just comes down to which position. If there's someone who's hotly contested, you really want that #1 spot. And if you're acceleration, you're crossing your fingers, hoping for that 1% chance over there.
Yeah, let's speaking of 1% chance, why don't we move over and take a look at these odds on our draft lottery board here, so you guys can kind of see their spots 9 through 16 are filled out. Those are the playoff teams. So the playoff teams are not in the draft lottery. Their positions are set 9 through 16. They'll be set through the later rounds as well. The draft lottery is just for round number one, and so you can kind of see those odds there. You have Genesis, Vikings, and Aurora, the three quote unquote worst teams from last season. They have the best odds to get a top three lottery pick, and then the odds kind of go down from there. Charles, what do you make of these odds? And is there any odds you're liking there? You're like, hey, I'll put some money on Kiwis getting the top lottery pick.
I haven't really thought about this much, but as I'm looking at it, I think honestly the first overall pick, first through like 5, can be important, but I'm thinking of those later round picks are going to be even more crucial because we have obviously a lot of new players coming in, and who knows, they could be diamond in the roughs. So I mean, if you get a good mid round pick, I mean, you could have a very good team going forward. So first 3 picks, overall picks, obviously very important, but I'm looking more towards the middle of the pack as more of a successful draft pick going forward.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Magic. What do you make of this? What do you make of these odds as they stand right now? As we're almost ready to get into this and pick the top three lottery picks.
It's going to be interesting for sure. There's a lot of teams that have a lot of rebuilding to do. There's some teams that are completely empty that are preying on a home run right here. Like, I mean, the Kiwis, they're preying on a star right now because they're empty. They got to make something happen. And you got teams like Ignite. You're stuck at 16. Is it Charles? He's in prospect. You got to fill his spot. Rooney's in the draft. Like, they got to figure something out to go back to back. So it's definitely a lot more intense than normally is for prospect, or excuse me, for novice. So I'm excited to see how it goes, and maybe we have a home run hit by one of these low percentages.
Yeah, maybe we will have to see. Well, let's get into this. So, just a reminder to everyone before I roll these out, we are picking the top three lottery teams. So all these odds, they're all based on odds here. Whoever I pick first is going to be the number one overall pick. Then we'll pick the second overall pick. Then we'll pick the third, and the rest will fill in based on worst record from last season. So this is just for the first round, but we are going to pick the number one overall pick here. Let's see who the odds are favoring to get the number one overall pick in the novice league.
I'd be down with a 73-74 right here. That'd be pretty goofy.
I think a 75 would be the goofiest.
That would be pretty goofy. I think I'm feeling like a 31.
Oh no,
my
he's
God.
excited.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
We have got a 71 on the board there. 71 on the board.
Dude, you're so close.
That is the Vandals
Oh my.
sniping the number one overall pick from 5.3% odds.
They hit the home run. They
Wow.
were the team to do it. It could have
Congrats, Vandals.
bro. You're so
That is
close.
huge. Wow.
Especially since we kicked them out of the playoff contention last season. I know there's a little bit of controversy surrounding that. I think this will definitely, there's some hard feelings lost here getting the first overall pick.
Yeah, I'm looking at their roster right now. All they've got is Jolly Rogers there sitting at 1292, so I'm sure he'll be happy to get his choice of whoever he wants as a teammate, at least for the first round. That's a pretty position to be finding yourself in, and I'm sure you weren't really expecting it, although you were hoping for it if you were the Vandals.
Yeah, I mean, Vandals coming out of nowhere, and like you said, Charles, they didn't quite get in the playoffs, based on how the seeding worked, but they get the number one overall pick there. So hey, it may not be compensation in that way, but hey, I know Sands has got to be happy here to get that number one overall pick. So there are the Vandals, and let's move right along and see who's going to be picking right behind them for the second overall pick.
What are we thinking, guys? 75?
I'm feeling like a Rockerman special. Like he's gonna pull a 6-0 or something really cringe.
Mm.
All right, we have got a 46 on the board. That is going to go to Actually, it's going to go to Aurora there. So Aurora moving up there with their 21% odds. They are going to be pick number 2.
Ultimus and Sunlight get to have first pick or second pick of the litter. Ultimus is definitely a guy you can build around. So they're sitting in a good spot heading into next season. They only have to fill out 2 spots, and the number 2 overall pick surely couldn't help with that, or couldn't hurt.
Definitely not.
With a new GM there too. We got DJD taking over there. So yeah, Critter no longer the GM of that org, and DJD, I'm sure he's happy. Novice is all about those picks. The lower leagues, it's all about those picks. So Aurora gonna take their 21.3 odds, and they're gonna find pick number 2, which means we've only got one more pick to go. The final pick of the lottery here. And we got to determine who is going to be number 3 on the board. Let's find out who's the 3rd pick of the lottery.
This one has to be Genesis because it wouldn't be as suspicious, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna. Yeah.
I don't think there's any way it's anything else.
12?
That's very impressive. We got 70 on the board. That's the Vandals again.
Oh my gosh.
The Vandals
give 'em
already
another
won,
pick.
so we gotta re-roll.
Bro's
Ah.
hacking.
Trying to toss out suspicion even more before he pulls a 15 out. Curious.
Yeah.
Vandals just pulled 2 5%ers like we're not gonna notice.
Well, here we go again. We got a 43, which is Aurora again. So,
Oh my, look.
Back to back, a re-roll.
Okay, buddy. This is getting ridiculous. Pull the 15 out already.
A little
Come on.
suspicious.
Pull 12, come on.
Yep. We put an 8 on
Oh
the
my
board.
gosh.
That's Genesis there
Yep.
for number 3.
It's just 5.
How do you know? How do you know?
Classic.
So
Okay.
rigged. Literally so rigged.
Oh my gosh.
That's impressive. That's very Wow.
That's how we gonna figure this out after 8 seasons. Come on, buddy.
yeah. Just pulled it out. Just an 8 magnetic. It was
Pulled it out of somewhere.
the balls are magnetic there. 8 was a little magnet on it. Stuck it to my hands. But
What's
Genesis
got going on?
Genesis going to take the 3rd overall pick there, and that means the teams will fill in behind there. You'll see that on the screen shortly. But yeah, Genesis, only Johnny Boy on our roster. But a top 3 pick after having the worst record last season. Magic, we got a little bit of work to do to regain for this next season.
Yeah, I mean, former Genesis myself, it hurts to see him finishing dead last. So I'd be down with a little Genesis comeback, and now they have the tools to work with to do it. And I don't know much about Johnny Boy Kills, but I'm assuming if you're keeping him there, he's a guy to build around. So we'll see how it goes with Genesis. Hopefully they can turn it around.
Merely as an AGM, still an AGM for now. Of the evolution. Sorry. Merely, what do you make a Genesis getting a top 3 pick there, and having a chance to get someone high up on there?
As someone who apparently is about to get fired from their job, I made sure to disrupt every single organized thing going on in our league. So yeah, you're welcome for that. See you on the flip. But realistically, I think that's huge. Genesis last season, a little bit unfortunate. Had a pretty decent start to the season, and then the ball kind of dropped, and then it kept falling, and then it never really stopped. But that's the cool thing about getting a new season, new boundaries, a whole new league essentially is what we're seeing from Novice this season. And with Johnny Boy Kills there, the legend himself, he's been around for as long as I can remember, at least maybe season 3 or something. Definitely plenty of room to work with, and with a number 3 pick, I mean, come on, you got it cut out for you. As long as you can make at least one good decision.
There we go. Well, we will have to see. And quick couple of shout outs here. Jack Soy or Nick Soy coming back for 11 months, and also Fort with the 5-month resub. Much appreciated. Much love to you guys for supporting the stream. And yeah, now we can see the rest of the draft lottery filling in behind it. So you see, we get the top 3, and then 4 through 8 kind of fill in. Charles, what do you make of this entire first round there? You get Vikings, Wisp, Kiwis, Frost, and Acceleration filling in 4 through 8.
I personally think that obviously the Vandals got the biggest steal. I mean, that's obvious. I think that's going to be huge for their organization. I mean, you come so close to making the playoffs, and then you have the first overall pick. I'm looking for a breakout year for the Vandals, and as you guys mentioned earlier, maybe like a little bit of a sneaky come up with the Genesis. Who knows at this point? But with that pick, Genesis is looking good as well. And I honestly, Novice as a league is always up for grabs. I think no matter how you slice it, I think any team can be good at any point in time. So there's not a whole lot of predicting you can do.
Yeah, that is true. And yeah, with the boundaries changing the way they did, obviously we added the sixth league, the provincial league. The novice boundaries have shifted quite a bit, quite a bit for this season. I believe novice is it 1350 for novice? Yeah, 1350 to 1186 for novice. So it's one up. There's a lot of great players in there, and there you have the first round for the draft lottery. So Vandals with the steal of the draft lottery. They're coming in with the 5% odds to take the number one overall pick there, and they do it magically there. So congratulations to them. And yeah, we're gonna move along to the prospect league now, where things are gonna get a little bit spicy here out in prospect league. As we can see, the teams on the right side there at the moment. And really, I want to bring it back to you here again. We're heading to the Prospect League, where things have shifted once again. Prospect League is now 1,500 to 1,351. What do you think of that? Obviously a lot of shifting going around here. Prospect can get to 1,500s. Got 1,500s in Prospect.
It's kind of crazy. I never thought I would see the day where Prospect is basically the new Challenger League. I mean, with Challenger moving all the way up to 1,600. It's kind of split in half there, but Prospect's going to be the most competitive seasons we've seen so far. I know we have that meme about your Prospect, you always will be. But in this case, being Prospect ain't such a bad thing. I mean, I know it's still on the bottom half of the leagues in terms of skill differential, but now it's above the Provisional League, above the Novice League. I am just trying to make up for the fact that you always will be Prospect. But it ain't such a bad thing, is what I'm saying. And I think it's going to be really cool to see the Prospect League actually rise up a little bit and have hopefully some great teams I'm sure will be on there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think I'm like fourth to last in MMR. I think I got the cutoff. I'm like 8 MMR above the cutoff. So I'm like just kind of like, hey guys. Hey. I barely made it.
Hey, there you go. You made it. You made it in at least. So there's that for sure. There, Magic. I want to throw it to you as a prospect player from last season. Which team on this list here? We got Ember, Faded, Banshees, Wyverns, Flurry, Origin, Bandits, Hypernova. Those are the 8 teams in this draft lottery. Which of these teams are you hoping? Obviously I know you were on Flurry last season, so maybe besides Flurry, which of these teams are you hoping is going to steal a top lottery pick and have a good season?
I mean, you probably need to say Hypernova hitting that 1 in a million shot, because they got to make some changes because of MMR boundaries, and I don't know what their plan is, but I mean, when you see guys like Puggles, Jaegers just chilling there on the draft board, that's how you turn your season into a guaranteed like playoff run. So if you're a team like Hypernova, you got to rebuild, you got to figure something out. I'm sure they wouldn't be upset with the number 1 overall pick with 1,500 MMR player in Prospect League. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be something here. So let's take a quick look at the odds, and then we'll get right into it here. So you saw the numbers on the side. Let's take a look at the odds here. You can see spots 9 through 16. As we talked about in the Novice League, those spots are filled based on the playoff teams, based on their records and their finishes in the playoffs. And, obviously, depending on any forfeits or missing replays, those also hurt people's draft stock, also hurt their potential odds there. But you can see them. You see Ember, Faded, Banshees, all with those top odds. Then Wyverns, Flurry, Origin, Bandits, and Hypernova rounding things out there. So those are the teams. There were a couple trades which we can talk about if they hit here, but let's go ahead and get into it here. Let's figure out who is going to get the number 1 overall pick in the Prospect League for season number 8.
Please be Ember. Please be Ember.
If this team doesn't draft Bagel.gif for their first pick, I'm rioting. Just saying.
Sure. Bagels buff.
Clearly the best name in all of Prospect.
We're getting down there. We got a 62 on the board.
Oh,
that's going to Flurry. Flurry
this is
taking
rigged.
the number 1 overall
This is a
pick.
W.
This sucks.
Amazing, dude. It's
This
just
is the
Dan
worst.
on the roster, bro. Dan gets the pick of the litter. Anybody Dan wants to play with, he's coming home. So this is hype. You love to see it.
And merely something big about that is that pick was traded there for.
Wait, was it really? What was it traded for? Remember?
Look at his Banshees. It was Banshee's pick on there, and now is Flurry. So that would have been the
Oh.
Banshees, but instead of Flurry, Dan makes a move, steals the Banshees pick, and steals the number 1 overall pick in the Prospect League.
The Dan
Oh
plan.
my
Dan's
word.
cheating.
Never
Dan's
done
cheating.
it.
Dan
He's
is
getting
hacking.
banned.
How much did he pay you, Rocker Man?
Not enough.
Paid him enough
Well,
to get that
maybe enough.
the little spinner.
Yeah, he did just enough to get the number 1. As
That
you
is
do.
huge.
Yeah, that is another one. First, we had Vandals hitting with the 5% odds, and this time Flurry hits a little bit higher of odds. They're 10.67, but yeah, as compared to some of these other teams, still some a good hit there for Flurry. So they are going to be number 1 overall. They're stealing Jaegers or Critter for first overall. You heard it here first, folks. I've heard the leaks. So Jaegers, Critter, congratulations on going to Flurry to play with Dan.
Jaegers.
He's gasping in the chat. He can't believe it. But there we go. There's number 1 overall for Flurry. Let's move right along now and figure out number 2 overall.
I'm feeling the Hypernova 75 right here.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually.
Oh my goodness,
No
we
way.
got a 72.
Oh my
overall.
God. This is actually rigged.
Origin.
Nah.
Bruh, you're joking.
This
That's an
is not
origin.
real, bro. This is not real.
I can't
This
believe
is a
you put my
dream.
number already.
This is cap.
Origin for number 2 with a 72. That is 5%
Huge
odds.
cap.
Again, that's the second time we've had a lottery hit from the 5% position there. We had Vandals with that 71, and now we have Origin with a 72, the 5% odds. And Origin's going to be picking second in the Prospect League draft.
The percentages do not lie. Well, hey, if Flurry ends up picking Critter, then you can just steal Jaegers back.
There we go.
Welcome back, everybody.
Some good trade bait, eh?
Oh my gosh.
And Marco's like not high MMR, so Origin has a lot of room to work with. So you have room to draft that 1500 MMR player and it not really hurt you. So that's a really good spot for Origin to sit at.
That's massive, actually.
Yeah, Origin. They were one of those teams that were very close to making the play-in tournament at the very end. Lost off a tiebreaker. So for Origin to be that close, it's one of those ones, kind of like the Vandals. The Vandals are so close, and they end up getting number 1 overall. Origin also very close to the postseason last season, and now they're picking the lottery, a top 2 pick there. So Origin, we're happy to have that one. I am happy to have that one for sure. That is great news for Origin, and let's go ahead and figure out who is going to be the third lottery pick, the third and final lottery pick for the Prospect League.
We got breaking news. Marco says, I ain't resigning. Resigning.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
I did know about that. So
wow.
Whoops.
all right, here we go. Another one is in, and it is going to go to 57, which is the Wyverns on there at the 16% odds. So actually, Ember, Faded, and Banshees, neither one of them is going to get a top 3
Rigged.
pick.
That's a scary team, actually. If those their players and Jeff Masters and 5/3 are resigning, that's a good team. 5/3 is so underrated, and you got a really solid third man to run out that roster. Watch out for Wyverns this season for sure.
Yeah, especially with Jeff Masters. He's absolutely massive and novice last season. I mean, gave us a run for our money, so I'm just excited to see him in Prospect, and I hope he does well, but I obviously hope to beat him.
Of course, as you do.
A proper strategy.
Of course. But yeah, as we get things filled in here on the screen, they'll be filling in shortly with the team. So bear with us as that goes on. But we got the top 3. We get Flurry, Origin, and Wyverns on the board here. Obviously, we had some deep odds hitting down there. We had the 10% odds hitting, and we had the 5% odds hitting for those ones. Magic, what do you make of this? What do you make of this? These top 3 lottery picks, and maybe what they could do for the upcoming season.
I mean, while I'm upset that Origin gets a number 2 pick because rigged, I can't say anything because Flurry got it was 10% chance. So, I mean, trade off, will take it. But I mean, you have only Dan sitting on the Flurry roster right now. So I mean, if he wants Critter, he's got him. On Origin, if you want Jaegers, you got him. So two teams that have a lot of room, like all their roster ready to fill out. They got the top picks. So that's going to be some potential super teams in the making.
Definitely could be there, Charles, as now we kind of see the rest of the order filled in there. We get Ember at 4, Faded at 5, Banshees at 6, Bandits at 7, Hypernova at 8. But what do you make of all this, and who do you think is sitting in a good spot here come season 8?
I mean, considering that the bottom 3 teams did not get top 3 picks, I'm a little confused by that. I think it's a little rigged, but you know what, Rockerman, this is Nemesis, and this is just how it rolls. So I'm just going along with it. But Ember, my boys, at the 4th pick, not too upset about that actually. I think as we've mentioned multiple times, I think the middle of the ground pick is going to be a good one, very beneficial to some teams, and I think hopefully we'll make the most of it.
Yeah, definitely. We will have to see. So that is what the first round looks like. Some trades were made, and Dan had the trade of the Prospect League, I guess, for this upcoming season as he traded for the Banshees pick. They did a pick swap actually there, it appears. So Banshees and Flurry pick swap, and Dan comes out on top there with the number 1 overall pick. So congratulations to Flurry and the rest of the teams pulling out those lottery picks. Let's slide over and let's talk about Challenger. Let's talk about Challenger. We got a couple of Challenger players in here now. We got 3 of them, and Charles.
Hi guys.
he's the prospect of the bunch, but we have 3 challengers, myself included. Merely we're heading into this one with some odds, and there are some spicy trades that happened for the top 2 picks, with Ascension taking Samurai's top odds, and then the Drakes taking the Assassin's top odds.
Yeah, that was kind of a huge play. Both of the top 2 spots here actually will be trade for. So if either of us, either Ascensions or Drakes get it, that's big money moves. We'll see if Dan is the only one who trade his way into a winning position. But still, either way, a little bit more even odds there at the bottom. I see Snowstorm actually. Does Snowstorm have the best odds? Am I seeing that correctly? Or they have, because they have 49 through 60 and then 61 through 68. So
yeah, that'd be 26.
Yeah, that's wow.
Make it
26%
19,
odds. Right? Okay, yeah, 26% odds. You're right.
That'd be so funny if they didn't get like any of the picks.
That would not be funny.
That'd be funny.
That would be hilarious.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, Magic, you have to explain that here. Is now you're in Challenger League. What do you what's going on with you this season? And
I mean, so being the very freaking tip of Challenger, if I screwed my team over MMR boundary wise, so I need to pull some strings here, and I'm sure having 2 first-round picks wouldn't hurt with that, and especially if it's number 1 overall, might be able to weasel some picks out of people, that number 1 overall pick. But we'll see how it goes, because that I forgot whose pick that is. It might be the Bearcats that we have, but that's we're preying on the odds being in our favor here, because we got some work to do at Snowstorm.
Yeah, and let's take a look at those odds, and we can talk about that Snowstorm trade pick there. So you'll pop them on the board there. You see Ascension and Drakes; those 2 picks were traded for, and they have those good odds there for a top lottery pick. You see Papayas coming in with the similar odds, and then you get Snowstorm. They got 2 in a row, so that 5th odds there, that 10.67 odds, that was actually a trade from the Griffins. So Snowstorm has 2 picks there on the board, and then you have Hellcats, Orbit, and Dissolve rounding things out. So those are the teams, and let's figure out who is going to get the number 1 overall pick in Challenger. Here we go.
I think I said Bearcats. Yes, we stole a pick from a rival team. We're just taking everybody's. It's the Dan plan.
You just got to be ruthless out here.
65.
We've got a 9 on the board.
Of course
That's going
we
to
do.
Ascension.
Of course we got a 9.
There's no way.
You're so
Okay,
Let's go.
all right, guys. I think we should. Can we impeach Rockerman or something?
We tried. He won't let us.
That is 21.3% odds. Shout out to Jaegers for making that trade. He may have left the org, but he made that trade for that Samurai pick. And Ascension, number 1 overall. That is a W. We knew it was gonna be a top.
Stupid.
We knew it was gonna be a top 4 pick, but hey, we take number 1 there, and that'll give us 2 first rounders. So me and maybe Kovalchuk, maybe some other people have some opportunities. So we'll see. I'm happy about that.
Huge
Who's
money
you
moves.
drafting? You gotta let us know because we can't take your pick. So who's
Yeah.
the play?
I mean, we have you right
I-
here.
I have not decided yet. I looked at the challenger
my
list and I
God.
was like, man, I really don't know. I don't know who I'm gonna have to carry to a championship here this
You
season.
gotta
Oh,
snipe.
boy.
You gotta snipe Chiefer. Chiefer's the play. I'm telling you.
So,
Shout out my boy Chiefer.
I don't know. The name Dolphin Puck is very enticing. I gotta say.
That's
Don't-
hilarious.
Episode name.
Ethan X Games mode, bro. That is the play.
a Dolphin Puck's been recruiting out here. Shout out to Dolphin Puck. He's recruited probably like 8
Let's
or 10
go.
people here. So he's getting his money in the well, I guess the recruitment raffle. I was gonna say lottery. It's a recruitment raffle. So he's getting his entries in for the recruitment raffle. He's been recruiting. So he said he poached a whole server. So there's that respect there to Dolphin Puck for doing that. And you know, maybe he's got to be my teammate this season. I don't know. We'll have to find out. So
Ooh,
we'll see. But
leak there.
well, there we go. Number 1 pick goes to Ascension with tied for those. I guess they're second best odds considering Snowstorm has 2 picks. But let's figure out who's picking number 2 right behind Ascension.
This
What are
better
we
not be
thinking
no
here, guys?
70. If this is in the 70s, I'm gonna lose it, bro.
I'm actually gonna leave the room if it's in the 70s.
I'm down.
It's gonna be 75.
58 on the board. You can't really see the 8, but it's 58 on the board, which
Oh,
is
look who
going to
it
go
is.
to Snowstorm.
Me and Austin are just taking all the top 2 picks left and right.
Literally. Why are we even here?
This is why I'm here. I saw the script and I was down to be a part of
The
it.
Rocker Man and Dan show here is now Snowstorm going to be
You could have
number
just
2.
done this by yourself. You didn't even need us.
True. I should have just done it. But,
Yeah.
Snowstorm, they did have the best odds to get a lottery pick there with the trade from the Griffins. So Magic, what do you make of that? Number 2 overall, you're hoping for one of those picks and you got it.
I think I just gotta hope that Merely decides to play, and then I'm gonna force him to play on Sub-Zero because I know it's a lifelong dream to play in Sub-Zero.
Aw,
So
that's so
probably the
sweet.
play. That's yeah.
You know what? I don't want to crush any kids' dreams today.
Aw.
Sure, Magic.
You
Yeah.
can crush my dreams tomorrow.
This is so sad, guys.
Today he'll play. Tomorrow's a new day.
Today,
So-
I'm definitely gonna fill out a replaying form.
Nice.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna forget.
Yes.
And the day after.
Well, there we go. Ascension number 1, Snowstorm number 2. Let's figure out who's picking number 3, and let's fill out the rest of that draft lottery board.
Yet again, if it's in the 70s, I'm leaving the room. I'm out of here if it's in the
If it's
70s.
71, you gotta do 20 push-ups.
Okay.
All right. We got 35 on the board. No push-ups. That is the Papayas there
Okay.
coming in at number 3 overall.
That's a good pick. What do they have right now? Oh, they
Let's
have
see.
Midnight and Q. Midnight's a good guy to build around.
Okay.
They did it last season, and it got them really far in the playoffs. So we'll see how it goes this season in Challenger.
It's a pretty good spread on MMRs too. They have room if they want to keep that team. I think Q and Midnight have played together multiple times before too, if I'm not mistaken. So if they could find a solid third, that could be already the start of something good over there.
It definitely could be. And I mean, Midnight, one of the top players in Prospect last season, now, moving up to Challenger this season, looking to, see if he can go, get his team back there. So that could be that could be good. And with a new GM there, Cool Kyle, I'm sure he's excited to get a lottery pick there with the Papayas. I know, he was really excited to become, the Fruit Ninjas GM. There's been some, it's been a lot of JD, Ben Squirrel who's taken over, and now Cool Kyle's gonna be starting his own legacy there.
I love Cool Kyle. Absolute beast.
Yeah. No, Cool Kyle's a great guy, and he's going to get that top 3 pick. As you guys can see, the rest of the Challenger League board has filled in there. We got the Drakes coming in at 4, Snowstorm at 5, Hellcats at 6, Orbit at 7, and Dissolved at 8. And you can see how the rest of the first round is going to line up there. So, Magic, throwing it to you one more time here. Taking a look at this board here for the first round. What stands out to you at the moment?
Massive W. Great script for the draft show. Big fan. 2 and 5, I basically can decide what I want to do. That's a good feel to have. I'm sure you have the same feeling with #1 overall pick, but 2 and 5, that is elite. That's Dan making it happen for my team, and I am so excited for this season. But I really want to see what the Papayas do with that pick. That is a great pick to snag, and I'm a big fan of Midnight, so I think that's a team to look out for whenever we get late in the season.
Really, what do you make of this? What do you make of this first round now that the dust has settled a little bit?
Yeah, we've got a couple repeating here. Ascension and Snowstorm, once again, obviously in very good spots here. Gonna be able to put together pretty much whatever team they want. And the rest of the league not looking too shabby either. Papayas, solid third pick. Don't really need too much more than at least one first round pick, so that's huge for them. And yeah, it's really going to be these teams with no one on them. I mean, I know for teams like Flame, they only get one pick in the entire first round. Might be a little bit rough to round out that roster, but it's all about making them count. And yeah, I'm excited to see, once again, the most competitive Challenger season so far is what I'm expecting.
Yeah, I want to point out one more thing. You look at a team like the Drakes, their roster is almost completely filled out with like really good players, and they have 4 and 9. So expect to see some trades with those picks because, I mean, that's a lot of tools to work with for the season.
And definitely, and they're going to be one of those teams to watch out for sure. But that's going to wrap up the Challenger Draft Lottery. We're going to move on now to the Rival League, where once again we have some more trades that have come out. There have been trades all over the board here, and things have gotten real spicy up there near the top. We have Whiteout has traded for that Bearcats pick at #1 overall, followed by 2 Lightspeeds there. Lightspeed actually trading for the third best odds there. With the Gravelords, you get Galaxy, Thunderbirds, and then Blaze, a trade with the Mafiosos there to slide into those 5% odds, and then Vortex and Chimeras there. So that is the Rival League at the moment. And merely, I want to throw it to you for this one. What do you make of the Rival League now? As we see, I mean, Lightspeed's got some 42% odds to get a lottery pick here.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be, they'll be a little annoyed if they don't get one of the top 3, but even if they don't, getting picks 4 and 5, not a bad outcome either. As for the rest of these, I mean, some of these teams are in pretty good spots already. Looking at the player sheet, a lot of good rosters and lots of players. But I'm noticing, the other leagues, we don't really have that many full teams. There's a lot of already established teams in the Rival League. I see the Pineapples already full, even over the MMR cap, so I'll have to make some adjustments. Hydra full, Vortex full, and not over the cap. So a lot of this could be, especially with an organization like Hydra, like that team that has been dominant in the Rival League for so long. It's going to be on these GMs to draft their way into building a team that can compete against these top ones and that can even look to overtake some of them. So good start here if these teams can get lucky.
Yeah, in Rival League, we didn't really talk. We talked briefly earlier about how Challenger League, the MMR range went from 15 is now 1604 to 1501, and Rival League has also in turn gone up 1605 to 1719. Charles, I want to throw it to you. Take a look as when we transition over to the odds, so we can take a look at those on the stream as well. What do you make of these odds in the first round? Obviously, I know the big one there is that Lightspeed with 2 of them there. What are you thinking here as we kind of see how things are looking at the moment?
As this night has gone so far, I think there's going to be that one team who is just going to sneak their way into the top 3 picks. My guess would probably be Blaze because they have that 5% chance. I mean, it's still a little unlikely, but crazy things have happened here in this draft so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Lightspeed even gets that lottery pick. But who knows at this point.
Yeah, we will have to see. And why don't we get things rolling right away here? Let's figure out who is going to get the #1 overall pick in the Rival League. A lot of teams on the board here with some good odds. Let's find out who's #1.
It's 70, dude. I'm gonna be so sad.
It's gonna be a Lightspeed number. They have 40%.
Oh, we're moving down the list just a little bit. We've got 66 on the board there. That is the Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds. Okay,
Mm.
They
okay.
have Ibonic right now, so they already have a mechanical
Oh boy.
mastermind. So that's a W team already with the number 1 overall pick.
Does spice things up. We were down the list again. That is 10.67% odds. And Smeg, the new GM, is going to have the number 1 overall pick to work with. And, Magic being a new GM, I mean, that's huge. It's your first time GMing here in Nemesis, and you get the number 1 overall pick in Rival League.
Yeah, and I mean, which roster? Let's see his roster. Yeah, it's just Ibonic and 2 Money. So if they keep both those players, they're kind of middle of the pack in MMR. So you can just take a shot with a 1,700 MMR player in Rival League. It's crazy to think how far we're moving up, but I mean that makes me a little less upset to not be a rival. Because damn, I would have been dealing with people like Cram sitting at a 1,700 MMR, guys like that. So maybe there's a Cram Ibonic duo coming soon. That seems like a match that was meant to happen.
It could be. There are a lot of great players, and with tight league able to say 17, 20 plus, it's really opened up the rival league. So Thunderbird's going to take number 1 overall. Let's go ahead and figure out who is going to be right behind the Thunderbirds. Will Lightspeed be able to capitalize on their 40% odds? I don't know. Let's find out.
No, it's rigged. They're not gonna do it.
No, somehow it's gonna be a rival.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy, here we go. Dan is winning. 13 is white out there. He's back in the lottery.
Oh,
He
my
is.
word.
He is
What's
getting
with the
all
number
these.
2 pick tonight? What?
He's getting all of their whiteout going 2nd overall.
Do we have 3 number 2 overall picks so far? Prospect, Chally, and Rival. That's huge. And you said Pharaoh. Pharaoh is 1607. That is such an amazing player for how low his MMR is. And I mean, Pharaoh can just pick his team. That is amazing for whiteouts. So I'm excited for that team.
And whiteout with 2 and 10 in that first round there. So yeah, like you said, that is a lot of room for Pharaoh, and he was a great player last season. Whiteout gave it a good run, pushed Hydra to the brink, the defending champions, for this upcoming season, and merely now Whiteout and Dan. Yeah, he's got a first. He's got a well. Actually, I don't even remember what happened in provisional, but I'm sure. Well, I guess provisional is more of a snake,
5 or
but
something.
yeah, provisional is more of a snake. But he's got what, first in novice. Is it first in prospect? He's got two seconds and a first.
First in prospect for second in challenger.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was second in
Ascension got
challenge.
number
Yeah.
1. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been making some moves. Dan appears to be winning so far here as he's got another lottery pick.
I don't mean to look too much to the future, but I just realized that last season's champions in Blizzard somehow ended up with a 5.3% odds in the draft lottery. And I am very fearful of what we might see when we'll reach that when we reach it, but a little bit of foreshadowing. We'll see how big Dan is winning today. For now, the whiteout getting that pick, huge. I mean, you already have Pharaoh on that team. You get to choose pretty much anyone else. That's a great start to get off to in this new rival league.
It definitely is. And, well, let's find out who is the last lottery team. Lightspeed is still not hit. They've got 40% odds here, 42.6% odds to get a lottery pick. They have not hit yet. Will Lightspeed be the third lottery team? Let's once again find out.
There's no way it isn't Lightspeed, right? There's absolutely no way.
Dude.
I feel like the more odds you have, the less chance you have.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh no.
we've got a repeat of 66.
Whoa,
But
okay.
that's the Thunderbirds again.
What
That's
is
impressive.
with all these repeats?
Lightspeed, take a deep breath. You didn't get scammed yet.
I mean, if you think about it, it's still less than flipping a coin. Not that hard to get heads 3 times in a row.
We got
Lightspeed still has to win one coin flip.
Another Dan
three is
bet.
whiteout again.
Another Dan win.
Oh my gosh. Really like your shirt, Rocker Man. Looks really good on you.
Thank you. We got
Yeah.
the grout fit going.
Oh, beautiful.
All right, here we go. Lightspeed, rejoice. You got 29. Lightspeed's going to take one of them. They're going to have 3 and 4 back to back there. So Lightspeed, they survived the 42% odds.
There you go. And they haven't released
my
any
God.
players yet, have they? They have all their roster filled out until, I mean, obviously there's probably some change might happen, especially when you have 2 high picks. Lightspeed having number 3 overall. Do they get number 4 overall? Is that how this works?
Yeah, they'll be
Yeah.
number 4 overall as well.
So, I mean, yeah, they can pick what they want to do. Either they change the roster up and use these really high picks, or we'll see if they ride with the roster they have.
Charles, what do you make out of these top three? Now the Lightspeed's on the board there with they're gonna have 3 and 4, and the rest of the first round will fill in shortly.
Honestly, Lightspeed getting that third pick, a little disappointing because, you know, they obviously had that 40% chance. But honestly, the top three kind of filled out pretty much how I was expecting it to. I mean, you got that one team just sneaking by and snagging that pick. That's just been basically the story tonight. Just one team just snagging it. And, you know, Lightspeed, I'm so glad they got that pick. And they're going to do a lot of great things. I don't really know what the future holds for the players on the roster now, but if you have 2 high picks, I don't really know why you'd need all those players on the roster.
Oh, let's see. I mean, there's obviously an opportunity to trade even if they want. I mean, Lightspeed has that bait there with two top 5 picks or 2 top 4 picks, and you can see the rest of the lottery there filling out their Galaxy, Blaze, Vortex, and Chimeras holding 5 through 8. Magic, what do you make of this first round here in the rival league, and maybe some scary teams that could have come out here?
Yeah, I think it'll probably show a lot more whenever these teams decide for sure who they're releasing, who they're keeping, because then you will know teams like Lightspeed. I mean, maybe there's some big names still that haven't decided I'm going to the draft, and then a team like the Whiteout or Thunderbirds are going to get somebody they didn't think they could, and just snag them first overall, second overall, and have a lot stronger of a team than it looks like they could right now. I mean, because like the top of the board, there's some names, but there's not like, oh wow, that guy's sitting there. That's our future. So we'll see how it ends up playing out over the next couple of days before the deadline to be released.
Yeah, definitely a lot to be determined. Re-signing decisions going on until Friday. So remember, if you're a player that's re-signing, you have to react with a check mark. Otherwise, you will not be re-signed. So make sure to do that. For releases, you don't have to react. And this is the only time you'll ever react in transactions or play for update for re-signing. So go if you're re-signing, make sure to check mark it. Otherwise, you're not going to return. So make sure to do that. But
That sounded like a threat.
it is a
You
threat.
will not return.
I'm checking my check mark.
I will not be returning.
I'm going to put 3 check marks.
There you go.
Nice.
Perfect. Appreciate
Red
that.
X.
Just make sure. All right. Well, with that being said, we have one last league. It is the Titan League. 17-20 plus the boundaries stayed the same here for Titan League merely, which is good to see. Titan League, it's either been 1,700. Well, I guess besides the first season that Titan was in, where it was 1,600 minimum, but it's been 1,700 minimum or up, and we kept the 17-20 from last season into this season. So Titan staying up there and continuing to go up.
Yeah, I think it's nice. The Titan League last season was one of the best seasons ever, in my opinion. And I think we really found that sweet spot with the MMR and the boundaries that gives enough room to work around, but not so much room that you can create a super OP team of Blizzard. But yeah, I think it's going to be... And the Krakens, who, an unfortunate saga for the Krakens at the end of the season, but they absolutely dominated during the regular season. Their only real competition at the end of the day seemed like it was themselves. But getting past that, even, I think it's going to be a great season. I don't think there was any real reason to change the MMR boundaries here, and I think it was a good decision to keep them the same and see what we get out of it.
Yeah, and actually, the MMR boundaries stay the same. The MMR cap only changed by 4. It went up by 4 MMR. So it's pretty much, the same Titan League we had last season coming into this season. So, obviously players MMRs have changed those. So that's the big difference is, certain players have changed MMRs. So we'll have to see what that has in store for us. But let's quickly take a look at the odds as we go into things here. So you guys can see all the teams on there. We got Phoenix, Godfathers, and Gravity, all with those top lottery odds. You get Dragons, Diversion out there. And then we have Blizzard. Once again, Dan's making some trades for a lottery team. They traded with the Reapers pick there. So they're sitting at 5% odds. Will Dan get another lottery pick? That is to be determined, as Blizzard's looking for a 4-peat, which, we already haven't seen we haven't seen 3 championships in a row, but will we see 4? And then Inferno and Bananas rounding things out there. So we'll have to see here. As why don't we go ahead and do it? Let's see who is going to take the number 1 overall pick in the Titan League for the season.
Let's see.
For a goofy 5%er right here.
It,
That wouldn't be
it's Inferno.
Get out of here.
It's Inferno all the way.
It's
I'm calling it right
60-70.
now.
If it's Blizzard,
70.
I'm getting
70.
up and leaving.
We've got Gravity on the board, 41. Gravity's going to take it
Hell.
home there. They were up there for those top odds, but Gravity and Big C Dubs are going to have a number 1 overall pick.
Let's go. I like
Respectable.
that. Let's see.
They have what?
Gravity.
Not too much MMR space left. They got some, but I mean, they can't just grab a 2K player with their current roster. So we'll see what they do with it.
I'll Flurry on there, but they've got some room to work around. Potentially do a little bit of trade in. With 3 players on the roster, you know that's a nice position to hold.
Yeah, I mean, Larry, Scion, and T-Man there, if they decide to retain all them, they can go ahead and round out their 4-man roster there with 1849 or below, which is really solid. And, you know, who knows, maybe we can get back to those peak Gravity days of Season 3 and Season 4 when, you know, Goff, Dylan, and the boys were running things down. I mean, Dylan is back in the league this season. I know that Goff is re-signed with Grandmasters, but Dylan's back in the league. Who knows what could happen there as, you know, maybe we'll see some old Gravity returning for the upcoming season.
I mean, do you spend the number 1 overall pick on a 1904 MMR player? That's a steal for Dylan, but do you do it? Because I mean, just for the name, I think you might have to do it.
Dylan is a Nemesis legend. He's been around for a while. He took a break, but he's back in the league, so he's up there. Definitely someone to watch out for. And obviously, there's a lot of other great players that Gravity could go ahead and select there, but they're going to take that number 1 overall pick, and I think now it's time to figure out who is going to be number 2 overall. Who's going to be right behind Gravity? We'll be Dan again. Will Dan get another top 2 pick? He's had some lottery picks. Nearly's about to cry over there, I think.
Don't speak it into existence.
Oh my gosh.
Give me the goofy 5%er. 69 would be a W.
It's Inferno. It's Inferno all the way.
It's bananas.
Okay.
All right,
Spawned a
here we
magic
go.
pick on us.
Oh, bad luck.
It is a magic trick. It is 13. I guess that's a little bit cursed.
I
as
thought
well.
it was
Okay.
73. I was like, oh my gosh.
That is going to go to Phoenix there. They had they were number 1 overall there. So nothing tricky quite yet. All the top odds coming in there. So Phoenix, it's going to be Gravity and then Phoenix and number 2.
That's a fun roster.
Phoenix has a lot of MMR to work with there, actually. 1958.
That's
some room to
really
work around
cool
with.
roster.
Yeah, and especially with the MMR cap of Gravity, I don't think they're going to draft too high. So having the 2nd overall pick probably is going to be more like having a 1st overall pick.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a lot to work with.
Yeah, Phoenix with Moifin, Miles, and Boy Wonder still on the roster. So, and like you said, 1958 to work with. I mean, there's people, up there. I mean, you got Heck who's making his return back to Nemesis, Ladog, Bubs. We mentioned Dylan already. There are a lot of people up there, and even some new people that we don't recognize, like IDFI up there. Ashes. I think Ashes was on a team last season, but there's still a lot of people around there that Phoenix could potentially work with. Smeg's got some options available as he's up there with another lottery pick. So you have Gravity and Phoenix. And why don't we round things out here, guys? Let's figure out who is going to be number 3 and going to be the final lottery pick for Season 8.
We're missing our weird low percentage pick that we've gotten
Weird,
so far.
quirky, goofy. Yeah, if we got Inferno,
Yeah.
Bananas.
Where
Inferno
is it when we
Bananas, I
need
think
it?
would be really funny.
Oh, no,
boy.
he's smiling.
Goofy Dan.
Oh,
no.
How about we get a little goofy here? 68 on the board.
Oh no!
That's diversion. That is diversion. One away from getting Blizzard. That is diversion.
Dude.
Taking a lottery pick.
It was almost the play. Oh,
It was so
I think we all
close.
assumed it was 69 when he turned around with a smile on his face.
Let's be real. Does Blizzard really need a pick? I mean, they have Mad Max. I know they're over the cap room right now, but they have Mad Max. I mean, I feel like
I don't want to spoil anything, but there's definitely changes happening. Obviously, we have to change something, but it's gonna be it's gonna be wacky in the next 2 days. Expect some news,
Well, that's going to be interesting. I mean, the 3-time defending champs. I mean, they've got Mad Max, Toxic, Zinvez, and Larry on the board, but they are over the MMR cap by 152. So, yeah, Magic's right. Some changes have to be made there. But Yeah, speaking of diversions they're empty again. Obviously, KN he's looking to get something for diversion. I mean, he finally after all these seasons of KN being around, he had distortion make it to the grand finals last season. Who's to say that maybe he can work some magic out here, merely, and maybe we can get the diversion boys working.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a dry spell for Diversion. They've had some ups and downs, but it seems like it's been a little bit more downs. Now they've got a completely blank slate to work with, can start wherever they want, and having that number 3 pick there, it's not a bad place to start. You really got to try and find someone that you can build a solid team around. I'd say when you have a pick that early and not another pick for a while, it's really important to choose someone who is adaptable to working with a different variety of playstyles, because once you reach the end of the draft, you can see who you can trade with, but you might not necessarily end up with exactly what you were envisioning. Really important to get a player who can kind of wade through that change and still come out with a solid roster.
Yeah, definitely here. As you guys can see on the board now, you saw it updated, but we got picks 4 through 8 also added on there. Godfathers at 4, Dragons at 5, Blizzard at 6. So no lottery pick for Dan in this one, but Inferno and Bananas there 7 and 8. You can see the first round. Charles, I'm gonna throw it to you. What do you take away here from this first round now that things are a little bit sorted out here?
I think the Phoenix has got the steal of the draft. I think that second overall pick, especially if you have Gravity going first. I mean, Gravity has a little bit of a cap MMR cap issue going on there. So Phoenix could definitely get a really good player on their roster, maybe fill out their roster a little more, and I expect them to be definitely a contender in this upcoming season so far.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with Smeg taking over as a new GM, who knows what he can pull out there. Definitely a great guy, new manager as well. We've added a couple of new managers in the offseason. I'm sure everyone's seen that in the Discord, but Smeg, new manager, new GM. And yeah, that is that. Magic, I'll throw it to you one time here about Titan. Obviously, you're in that Sub-Zero org, but Blizzard didn't get it. But what do you take away here, of these possibly these top 3 teams, or just the first round in general, or maybe some thoughts on Titan overall as we get ready for season 8?
A team that's interesting is Nebula, because they just released Christian and Crypt today, and they just have Ventus, so they have a ton of MMR cap space to work with, and they don't pick to 11th. So I'm wondering if they trade up and see what they can get done with maybe a team that doesn't need the pick, because I mean, if the guy like Ventus, you gotta spend on that roster. That is a roster that can win it all. So I'm excited to see what Nebula does going forward.
And Nebula, they were also a formidable foe in the Titan League for a long time, and even last season, with some great players like Duckworth on the team, they were definitely contenders, and that is the Titan League, and that is going to do it for the draft lottery for tonight. I'm going to throw it around the horn one more time here. Just kind of final thoughts here. Maybe what's the biggest surprise of the draft? Obviously, there was definitely the draft lottery. There are obviously definitely some surprises and whatnot. Charles, I'm gonna start with you. What do you take away from tonight's draft lottery? We went from provisional all the way to Titan. What stands out here as we get ready for season 8?
I'm just excited about the Provolone League. It's looking really cool. I'm a huge fan of the change to the league and the MMR. I think it's gonna work out pretty well. Honestly, the biggest surprise to me is just Dan just absolutely dominating this entire draft. I think without a doubt, I think the Sub-Zero org is gonna be pretty dangerous coming up. But I'm just excited for this season of Nemesis, and I'm excited for the draft coming up, and looking forward to seeing how these teams shape up.
Yeah, for sure. Magic, I'll throw it to you. Biggest takeaway here from draft lottery night.
Dan's really good at his job. He makes the stupidest trades work in the best way possible. And I mean, I just can't wait to draft Jaegers against his will into Flurry and have a great season with Dan and Jaegers teaming up. I mean, look out.
Hey, well, you better be careful. You might not be able to make that happen. We'll see. We'll see. But merely let me throw it to you one more time as we kind of conclude the night here. Draft lottery is over, but what do you have to say here to take away from this draft lottery headed into season 7 or season 8? Excuse me.
Well, we've set the standards now. We've pulled all the numbers. Everything's lined up. There's a million ways it could go from here. That's the beauty of the draft, and that's the beauty of the draft lottery. It would be a little bit boring, still exciting if we just kind of took all the teams and lined them up and we're like, here's your pick, here's your pick, here's your pick. But we add a little bit of spice to it. We give some options for teams to get a little bit lucky or trade your way into a great position, like Dan himself has done. And from here on out, like the others, I'm just excited for the draft. It's so close. I can feel the tension from the season that's about to get started, about to get underway. I know everyone's dying to get into it. And we are so close. The only thing left is to establish those teams and really start to see how this season's going to pan out. I'm super excited for it. Going to be the biggest ever, like Charles emphasized earlier. And I know all you guys are excited for it as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be an exciting one for sure here. So appreciate everyone hanging out with us. We appreciate all the resubs. It was a huge night here at Nemesis. It's good to be back here for season 8. I'm super excited. Yeah, things are done here for the draft lottery, but re-signing decisions, they close on Friday, and then Saturday we have the season 7 award show. We pushed it back a little bit, made sure we got stuff ready. So season 7 award show will be on Saturday, and then next week it's the combines, and then it's the drafts, and then the opening day. I mean, it's right around the corner after that on November 7th. So it's getting very close here. Like Merle said, you can feel it. It's the hype. It's the buzz in the Discord. New league, new players. Biggest season ever. There's a lot to be excited for. So we appreciate everyone hanging out with us tonight. And yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for the stream. We appreciate you guys. Thank you all for watching. And we will talk to you guys later.